Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Director Watch, an Awards Watch podcast that attempts to get inside the mind of cinema's greatest auteurs, explore what drives them, and maybe we go on a few unrelated tangents along the way. I'm Ryan McQuade, the executive editor here at Awards Watch, and joining me, as always, is my swimming partner, Jay Ledbetter.
Ryan, cue up the Star-Spangled Banner. It's time for the three colors: red, white, and blue. USA, USA.
No, Jay, it's not actually about the USA. It's about France.
Wait, other countries are allowed to have red, white, and blue as their colors?
Technically, they have it even before ours did, if you could believe that.
What do you mean?
Buddy, do we need to teach you some history today?
Apparently. I mean, I'm shocked. I'm shook to my core.
Well, I mean, this is coming from the guy that didn't know that Cormac McCarthy was dead.
We got some Cormac McCarthy news today.
Did you read that expose?
Yeah.
Holy shit. It's also
if only he were alive to see it.
It's also one of the worst written pieces I think I've ever read.
I didn't read it. I saw the headlines. I saw the Spark Notes.
You got to read the first paragraph because it is insanely ridiculous. It's like AI wrote it.
It's sort of Ledbetter-esque.
Yeah, it's like from the mind of somebody that watched The Counselor.
Yeah. Oh, well, that sounds good.
But also like misunderstood what The Counselor was about.
Demented and
yeah, it's
great.
Yeah, a little perverted. Yeah, it's wild.
Cormac.
What was it for Vanity Fair? Yeah,
I think so.
Good.
Let's get him on
Vogue.
the pod.
Well, no, Jay. Oh, you're talking about the writer of that?
No, Cormac.
Jay. Once again, I'm just gonna circle back. Can't do that, buddy.
He would have come on the pod.
He would have come on the pod. Yeah, you can hang your hat. Rest assured that he would have definitely come on this show.
Imagine Cormac McCarthy talking about Malik. That'd be interesting.
I don't think we would have got a word in edgewise.
I wonder if he's ever talked about Malik.
There would be no punctuation in sight. I can tell you that.
A couple of Texas boys.
We're here to talk about Three Colors Blue in our Krzysztof Kieślowski movie series, buddy. Are you excited about talking about this one?
Oh, I'm excited. The Three Colors trilogy. This is a big deal.
This is a big deal. This is like one of those. Was this one of those like criterions that's like sitting on your shelf, collecting dust for like years and years, and people come by and they see it and they're like, "What's that?" And you're like, "Oh yeah, that's Three Colors. That's Three Colors Blue
trilogy." Yeah. It sort of represents the three principles of French politics. You might not really understand it, but I've had it on my shelf for years.
Have you actually watched it, Jay? No, but it's decorative and
sort
of
it's what
very
you're saying
beautiful.
is sort of the infinite jest of Criterion releases.
Is that the book that you would say like it was on the bookshelf? People
that
think
is
you're
the
smart?
ultimate paperweight book. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say this is like a paperweight, but like, well, I mean, I guess
it can hold a lot of paper underneath it.
I mean, like the Decalogue is probably just as daunting of a task, I would say.
Well, yeah, we got to get into that.
Would the Bergman box set be that? Like the big
Bergman box set is definitely that.
Yeah, that's definitely that. We're in the middle of like a Criterion sale right now.
Are we?
Yeah. It's November. The November Criterion sale. Jay knows it all to be true.
I just got my bonus.
Oh no. There's not any posters for you to buy? You know?
It is so bad. There are posters that I don't even remember signing up for that I pay for basically on a weekly basis.
You know what's crazy? I feel the same way. Like I was at a film festival. I was in New York earlier this year. Humble brag. And I got this email from somebody. I'm like, who the hell is this? Because your poster for such and such is ready. You need to pay
the ship.
Man, you need to pay your second installment and the fees and everything.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I'm like, I don't remember signing up for that. And then I looked, I'm like, I thought I paid for it. And then I was like, nope, didn't pay for it.
Yeah, so, it's so bad. And then the worst is because you got to sign up for these commissions without knowing what it's going to look like.
Some of them are bad.
And when you pay your first payment and then they're like, here are the sketches, and it's like, I hate this, but I'm already halfway in, so I guess I just need to finish paying for it.
I had to back out of
tough. I got a Nope one. Coming soon. You in the Nope one?
No, I'm not in the Nope one.
It's pretty good.
Why don't you send me these?
It's a Nope one from one of the guys who did the old Goosebumps covers.
Oh shit! I bet that
It's
looks
pretty sick.
good.
It's such a small group. I bet I could probably get you in still if you
Oh,
want in. I
yeah.
could send you that one.
Yes, please.
All right, I'll send you that one.
Um, yeah. I don't, buddy. You got me down these rabbit holes,
Oh,
and
it's so bad. I'm done with getting into new ones. It's so bad.
no,
I'm done.
but I love it. I love doing
I
it.
know it's great, but I got so many.
I got
I
so
gotta
many.
sell. I gotta sell the ones I have before I get into anything else.
Oh, what are you selling? Oh well, we'll talk off,
Everything,
Mike. Maybe I'll buy
everything,
maybe I'll buy
everything.
maybe I'll buy some Ledbetters.
Oh, I'll send you
You'll
plenty
send,
of them.
you'll send me some stuff.
I
Allie,
got some Ledbetters for you.
Allie will be just like,
Yes,
get him out of this
You'll
house.
save my marriage.
Well, because like you have your wall is filled already, correct?
My wall is full, and I've got a portfolio full of other stuff.
Jesus Christ.
Bad.
Portfolio? Is that worse than your DVD collection, Blu-ray collection?
It is, yes. If you're talking about
Which is the more
pound for
unhealthy?
pound, which is more overcooked, it's the poster collection for
Yeah.
sure.
What
You've
does
got more Blu-rays than I do.
Yeah,
You've got more physical media than I do.
I have way too much physical media.
And I've got way too many prints.
I love physical media though. You know this. This is like my thing. Like I
Yeah.
obsess over this stuff, and now I get it. I get it from being on this website and running stuff.
I did
and
just buy
doing
this
things
guy.
here. Oh, Le Samurai in 4K.
Yeah. 4K.
It's a great movie. Like because we do pieces here, we do the show here or whatnot. Like I'm able to then say that it's part of doing Criterion research and stuff like that. And then they send me some of the new ones every now and then.
I mean,
it's great.
Get me on that list.
It took me years to get on that list.
Let's pivot the podcast to Criterion reviews.
Well, do you think
you
think you want to do that? You want to do that?
New pod. Second pod.
Second pod? Oh my God. We're already talking about a second pod and we can barely do this.
This would be
one.
Ryan's like fifth pod.
I do way too many of these, but I love doing
pods.
I do love doing it. Well, it's down to like 2. It's down to just stuff here.
You are the host of 2 podcasts now. You used to have like 4.
I used to have 4.
It was ridiculous.
It was too much. You got to have a wife though that's very understanding.
3 colors, more like 4 podcasts.
What would the different I guess it'd be like different seasons. They have stuff like that.
You've got 4 podcasts. 4 podcasts. AwardsWatch, 4 podcasts. The one that completely fell through that you thought was going to be great, and then 4 podcasts.
I did one with Kevin busting the block. Yeah, I've done the one that fell through. Yeah, it really did. Not my fault, folks. But also when I do a podcast, if it's a good idea,
I was a guest on that one for one episode.
You were. I go 10 toes deep into the sand, and I really commit to it. And I love a good idea. That's the problem. I can't say no to people either, Jay. So if we did do like a 30-minute, what do you want to do? Like a 30-minute to an hour podcast on Criterions? Is that what you want to do?
It'll get me free Criterions. Yes. If I don't get that, then pass.
Then screw it. I'm not doing that. I'm not wasting my time.
If I can do a 7-minute mini review of the Happiness 4K and they'll send it to me, yeah, I'm in.
I mean, have you seen Happiness?
No, I bought it though.
Oh, you did?
That one I did buy.
You did buy that. Oh, yeah, that'll be I would love to talk to you about that movie one day.
Let's cover him on the pod.
Salons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a couple of films. That would be like a short series, right?
Yeah, several, but yeah, I'd get fired from my job if we covered him though, is the problem.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a sicko. But who's not a sicko? Kieślowski.
No, not a sicko.
No,
very empathetic man. A sweet man.
Sweet man.
Filmmaker.
That's the thing. Like when we've gone down these rabbit holes and we've been looking at these people's filmographies, talking about mostly a lot of really nice guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of good people. Not just guys. A lot of good people.
Honestly, not a ton of information on Kieślowski, but nothing bad.
Nothing bad. I mean, like he did a lot of work, obviously, like we talked about in like the 60s and 70s, but he really sort of kind of penetrated the zeitgeist here in America with these four films in
This is
the
where we're getting
Decalogue.
into like sight and sound territory.
Yeah, and like he goes out sadly on the note of this trilogy. Like this is his. We are essentially talking about his legacy here with the next three episodes. We
A
are
little
talking
bit.
about what people will remember him the most for, and that starts with Three Colors Blue,
Mhm.
which is, I mean, just an absolutely very interesting, beautiful film. And so, Jay,
Mhm.
you hadn't seen this movie, right, buddy? Like these are
No,
all blind watches
never,
for you
never
again.
seen the trilogy.
Never seen
Troy Collers.
this is a trilogy. Um, what did you think of this one, buddy?
Trois Collers. Sorry,
Yeah,
un de trois. Um, yeah, you gotta. It's
I love you doing French. You want to just keep doing
French
it?
is a trois Collers. Is that what? I guess that's what it is. I don't know. Apologies to all the French people who
Bleu.
listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
We need to start doing subtitles for the pod. But no, this was a first
How would
watch
you
for
do your
me.
subtitle voice? So like, my name is Jay.
I do it like Muzzy.
Oh, really?
Remember Muzzy?
No.
He was like the
Oh, is this like the kids
yeah, he's
thing?
like the kids learn
Yeah.
how to
Okay, I
do
do.
foreign languages thing.
Yes, I remember.
Muzzy.
Yeah, I remember Muzzy. God, that's what a callback. Muzzy?
I'll tell you the one thing that I'll never forget how to say in French
Hmm.
is cheese omelet.
Oh, omelette du fromage?
Yeah, from Dexter's
Dexter's
Laboratory.
Why? Because they said it like 900 times on that
Yeah, that was his
episode?
whole thing. He was experimenting to listen to French in his headphones overnight while he was sleeping, and then the CD started skipping, and all that it said was cheese omelet, which is
And
a
then,
very funny idea for a thing.
yeah. And
I
then
think it's a
essentially,
good conceit.
and then at that point, that's how we got Rosetta Stone.
But then I believe the pop quiz, the only question was, how do you say cheese omelet in French?
And then
Which
he
is
got like,
a very funny button on the episode. Let's do a Dexter's Lab series.
we're going to do every episode of Dexter's Lab.
Yeah.
I have thought about doing a TV show podcast here at AwardsWatch,
Oh, that'd be interesting.
but like retro old shows.
Oh, right. You can bring me on for Twin Peaks and Twin Peaks The Return. Otherwise, I don't know. Bring me on for an episode of The Leftovers, I
I was
guess.
just, well, no, like it would be like sort of breakdown episode by episode, like kind of like
So you would do, wow. So you would do a whole show episode by episode.
yeah, why not?
Even a lot, like you would do Lost episode by episode.
Well, no, because like some people have already done Lost. I'm not going to say which show I would like to do. But I've talked about it.
Dexter's
Off air.
Lab.
Johnny Bravo, easily.
Oh man, I'm pretty.
Yeah. Anyway,
All right,
Blue-
three colors.
blue.
Good.
we're talking about Blue. Good Lord.
Yes.
See, this is what
Yes.
happens when we were off last week. That's why you didn't
Yeah.
have a show. So, now you get us back after like 2 weeks of not talking to each other.
Yes,
on the mic.
unfortunate personal circumstances prevented me from recording last week,
No,
and
it's
now we're
okay,
back, and I'm crazier than ever. Now we're talking three covers. Blah, blah,
Blah,
blah.
blah. You okay? Gesundheit.
Yes.
Anyway, back to you, Blue.
No, this is a wonderful film. I really do think so. It's such I think there are like 7 incredible thematic rabbit holes you could go down with this film, and sort of as a background to this movie, there honestly isn't a ton to it. It's sort of, he wanted to make this trilogy and he made the trilogy, and he has kind of said, yeah, if it was funded by France, so I made the three colors French. If it was made in another country, I would have made the three colors something else, and it would have been basically the same stories, which is an interesting, funny thing for him to say. But obviously, blue, white, red, the three colors of the French flag, and they are allegedly, supposedly correspond to the French principles of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Although I think there is a great deal of irony associated with the relations to those three principles. And we'll definitely talk about that in this film. But It's Blue is, it's fascinating that it is related to liberty, and the film in and of itself in a vacuum outside of the three colors oeuvre, it's just a great film that is another example of Kieślowski kind of experimenting with the form. The one moment that I maybe will remember more than any other is when the camera goes completely out of focus as they are uh, visualizing the music that they are thinking about constructing. I think that's just a marvelous sequence. And Juliette Binoche, this idea of her quote unquote liberation is so well played. It's almost underplayed. She's giving this very naturalistic performance in a film that otherwise is kind of heightened stylistically. You do have these powerful blues throughout the film, although there's certainly plenty of white and red in the movie as well. But there are moments of blue that are so important to the film. You have the little mobile, the light fixture that reflects the blue light. Obviously, you have the swimming sequences that are doused in blue. It's not just the water that's blue; it is being shot with incredible blue light bestowed upon it. And then the sequence where she is again thinking about the music that her husband, or maybe mostly her, as we discover over the course of the film, has constructed, and it is this overbearing blue light that is um, shown upon her. And that stuff really works. I love that heightened stylization, especially counterbalanced by this very understated performance from Juliette Binoche, who is just simply one of the greatest actresses of the last 40 years. She's really a gift, and an incredible performance in this film from her. And also this idea of I did find myself associating it with liberation, and just because that's how it's been described. In this film, I think it was Ebert first who called this an anti-tragedy. And he kind of called all of the films in the Three Colors trilogy sort of anti-genre movies. And so this is an anti-tragedy in that obviously the early events of the film, in which, spoiler alert, her husband and daughter die in a car accident, is extraordinarily tragic. But what the movie ends up being about is, what if you discovered that your dead husband was an asshole? And that,
Most of us are, though, Jay.
well, that the argument could be made, because what does Julie do in reaction to this tragic event? She just shuts herself off to the world and honestly tries to forget about her family, which in some ways is a reasonable response to trauma, and in other ways is a really unlikable way to deal with something like this, and to destroy the work that could be credited to her husband in the future. And there are many complicated reasons that might have been her reaction to that. And having sex with her husband's um, musical partner is another thing where you're like, this is off-putting. But again, in the face of trauma, people act in perhaps irrational ways, and in ways that might seem off-putting to people outside of that trauma. And all of those things, just they roll up into this very complicated emotional ball of storytelling. And it's such a rich text that is both rich in its storytelling and its writing, and also its filmmaking. Kieślowski is really experimenting with the form again with this film, and I think it's a pretty marvelous movie. I loved it.
Yeah, I think it's a masterpiece.
Oh, we're
And
saying masterpiece.
yeah, I put the M word up there. It's pretty goddamn great. And I think, Jay, you hit almost like every point I wanted to hit on this thing.
Cool. Good pod.
So
See you
I think
next
we're
time.
done. All right. See you next week. No, I mean, you're right. Like, you could go down many rabbit holes because the movie sort of unfolds in a way that is very different than most films, I think, about
The
grief,
rhythms of it are so weird.
right? Like, it's
Mhm.
it's very different than a movie where, people lose loved ones, and how do they recover? How do they move on with life? And I think this movie does a great job of showing grief in a way that doesn't feel exploitative, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. Like there's so many movies where like she would become a massive alcoholic or a
Or
massive,
something. It's not a weepy.
like it's no, it's not sappy. Sappy would be the word to that an American director would take this thing down. And he's not interested in doing that. He's
No.
trying to find through pain, how does one liberate, or can they liberate themselves? Can they build a new life through tragedy?
Also, what does
Right?
liberation mean?
Yeah, what does that even mean? Like is liberation's like we think of freedom, but like is peace freedom?
But what
Is
is she freeing
is truth?
herself from?
Yes.
Is she
Is it,
freeing herself from the expectations and pretenses of success and affluence?
yeah,
Is the
from the
her
hold of her
giving
from the hold of her husband and his actions that linger beyond
yes,
his death? You know what I mean? Like I mean this whole movie is
freeing
essentially,
herself from the idea of her husband being this kind of perfect person,
yeah,
right? Especially after death, you have this kind of angelic vision of people.
yeah. It
And
only gets
also
worse
through
after
that,
death
yeah,
too.
through
Yeah.
that lens is her giving the house to her husband's mistress, a way of shackling her, unliberating her from the simple life that she was kind of living.
Yeah.
It's again, so many lenses you can look at the movie through, and a lot of ways that you can interpret the story.
Well, and then also too, it almost, at least for me at times, I don't know how you took this, Jay, but on this watch, I was watching it through the perspective of her losing a child, and her anger is placed at, I think by the end, at him, especially, not necessarily at the mistress, but mostly at him, and sort of locking her and this child up in this house is very, it's very funny. It's darkly funny a little bit for me, but trying to see that she was mostly responsible for this genius, and sort of she created it, and what she had
Mm-hmm.
was this child that she had, and she lost him, and I think she's sort of blaming him. And in a lot of the film, it's her trying to recover, to see if, because she shuts herself off, right? She sells her house, the possessions inside, she really just becomes
Yes,
very,
she's turning her back to the world. Yeah.
yes, she's very minimalist by the end. She's
Mm-hmm.
living on her own. She doesn't, people's problems are not her own. She's becoming very much different. Like, I mean, she's talked to these people. There's a great scene towards, it's shortly after the accident and her recovery. And someone says, "You're just being rude. Like, you're so different now." And it's like, well, yes, I'm going
Yeah.
to be that because my husband died and my child died. Like, how do you not get that? And there's a bluntness to it that, I think that she just gives in this movie, that Julie gives, that it's just so perfect, um, for explaining how we feel in moments of true, because grief is such a, in a way, Jay, it's such a different and complex thing than what we normally feel. And we don't mean to maybe upset people, but everybody deals with it in a different way.
Yeah, logic and
And
rationality
I
are
don't
thrown out
feel
the
like
window.
we've seen a way of this being portrayed on screen a lot, just like how we talked about duality between, um, connected souls in The Double Life of Veronique. This is using grief
Mm-hmm.
in a very different way in this masterful performance.
Yeah.
That
There have
is,
been attempts. I think we've kind of talked about some of them. I think Morven Collar is sort of dealing with similar themes.
but
Um,
not nearly. I don't think Morven Collar is nearly as complex as something like this. I think that this is a little. I
Morven
think that
Collar is
that's.
very complicated,
I
but
think that movie's just like. I think that movie.
it's
I
it's
love
it's far
Lynn's film, but
more
it's very.
brutal to
Yeah,
watch.
that's more of like very one note, and you're gonna stay there, and
I disagree
that
with that,
in the
but
in terms of
I know what
tone,
you're
in terms of
saying.
tone, you know what I mean? Like you're gonna be. It's a
That
very,
one's a very numb
yeah, it's a
movie.
very numb feeling, and this is about, this is more, I
It's an
think,
emotionally rich text.
yeah, and this is more, I think, how life kind of is. It's like you're not gonna live mostly in that one
Yes, Morven
tone.
Caller is an extraordinary circumstance
Yeah.
that the viewer
No,
cannot even kind of grapple with.
no, and I think like in terms of just like what she goes through here, like one can set out and yeah, you can be depressed and try to gravitate towards it and gravitate towards it and gravitate towards it, but life doesn't do that. You know what I mean? Life then kind of rebuts that or pushes back on that on whatever your ideas are at the time, and then kind of presents to you your next chapter, what you want to be, and it's how then you react to that to then carry yourself. And so I think that that's kind of in a way her liberation is in a lot of ways for me is her answers to how life presents either challenges or acquaintances or the normalcies that were before, and how those relationships and how dynamics have changed, and just and how she's connected to people whether she wants to be that or not. And it's that your life does not end, or your impact does not end, whether it's artistic, whether it's just interpersonal, when a tragedy happens.
Yeah, there
And
is this
it's super
ironic sense
sad.
of liberation, meaning I am no longer shackled to my child and husband. And because of that, I start influencing other people. Obviously, she wishes she still had that obligation, but it is this literal unshackling from those responsibilities, which in turn has her impact other people in positive ways and also kind of find a new version of herself, which I think is what she does at the end of the film, where it is this mixed emotion of tears and obviously this smirk that comes across her face before the credits roll in the film, which I think is a great note to end on. I will say this: you brought up the daughter. If I have one criticism of this movie, it is
Mm,
that it is all about her husband. Very rarely is it about the loss of her daughter, which I find a little strange.
mm. Well, I mean, I think that there's like more, I think there's more subtle ways in which she, I mean, like the sort of blue jewelry that she kind of carries around her.
And the mobile is there, but it's all sort of
I
high
think, she,
level symbolism rather than true
yeah,
emotional richness,
I
which is
think she's more frustrated at her husband,
agreed,
and I think
which I think
she's,
is rings a little false to me.
but I don't think that she's ready yet to go there yet about her child. Like
It's
I
possible
think
she
that
might be suppressing that
I think
even
she's
more.
suppressing
That's a
that.
good
You
idea.
know, I do feel like she's hyper focused because her husband was her work, and then that then ties into her work and ties into this collaborator that then gives her a sense of love or a sense of companionship or a sense of touch that is not there, that is absent from her husband. And then I think that her giving the house, while it might seem like a prison, Jade, to this mistress, I also think that she's thinking about how to protect that child the way that she wasn't able to protect her own child, give them a sense of a place that they can live and that they could grow up in. That's obviously not going to happen for her child. But I do think
Hmm.
that there is a suppression. And again, grief comes in waves. You know, there it's for me, I think that she's dealing with this wave of it. And down the road, she will have to face the next wave, which is the loss of this child. And but I think also too, she is also a lost child. When she goes to visit her mother, her mother has
Hmm.
Alzheimer's, and she's a lost child. And there's also this, I think there's also a little bit of coldness there in that relationship within that history as well too. And for me, it felt as if like there's complications within mother daughter dynamics there that she's not able to front from her own childhood and her own mother. So then to fully go and see that, I don't think that the movie is, I think it's doing it on purpose. I think it's saying that like to in order to survive, if she thought about both of these tragedies, I think that she wouldn't be able to live. And so, and I do think that she is frustrated. I think when you lose someone that's more valuable, you blame its tendencies, whether we want to or not, we want to blame maybe other parties that are responsible that we lost. And I think that she blames her husband for a little bit. And I think some of her actions explain that.
I can totally see that as sort of a way of hand waving off what I maintain is still my biggest criticism. I
I
can
think it's
see
fair.
how you
It's
would
an
turn it
easy
in.
way to, just kind of like push off of this subject or not give her. But I also think too, in the Hollywood version of this, she'd have a big weepy scene where she's talking about her child.
Agreed.
So, you know
Her,
what I mean?
yeah, in some ways, it is sort of this. She is so unable to grapple with that piece of it that she buries it down so deep, and I can understand that. And honestly, the way that she distracts herself is by turning her husband into this artist rather than this person that she loved, and that's how she is able to suppress all of this to one degree or another. However, for her to come to some sort of clarity towards the end of the film without ever really grappling with it in any sort of recognizably human way, I think is maybe a flaw in the film. Again, I still think this is a marvelous movie, but you talked about her mother. I think that's a really interesting dichotomy to explore in that it's two different versions of loss, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have the true physical um, loss of life with her husband and daughter, and then you sort of have the cognitive loss of her mother, which is truly really equally as tragic, but there's almost more maintenance that comes with that kind of loss, and honestly more responsibility that comes with that kind of loss, and you have to deal with it more directly and more often with that kind of loss, which I think is a really interesting way to explore the very nature of loss. A very emotionally intelligent moment there that is fairly brief, and if you look at it as far as what is this really giving to the narrative of the movie, very little, but it is very important thematically and emotionally, and I think that's really powerful. And that's the little sprinkles of things that Kozlowski can establish with. He can convey so much with so little. I think about the little kids jumping into the pool. If you want to talk about a reminder of her child, I think that's one of the best examples in the movie. And that is an example where you have this overpowering blue of the pool now being overcome by these red and white life jackets that are going on. So you've got the all three of the colors there, which I think is an interesting use of that idea. It's an incredibly powerful work of art made by really a master of visual storytelling, and that is where this movie thrives above all else.
Well, yeah, it's a movie that's called Blue and it's about liberation, but it is definitely a movie that is shooting these blues in a melancholic beauty, right? And how I think that the continuing use of blue throughout this film is used as not a sense of like her liberation or her movement there, but as a sense of her mood and how she is
Yeah,
as she is
blue is a very
navigating.
melancholy
Yeah,
color.
and I think that is smartly used, and I think when is she most at peace is when this movie is at its bluest, and that's at the pool, right? When she's alone, you
Hmm.
see when she's in the room, the blue room, and what does the blue room represent? Well, the blue room is the room where her child was in, right?
Hmm.
And this blue jewelry represents a piece that she took from that room and
It's all
how
about
angry.
emotional
But then
crescendos.
also
Yeah.
too, like the way she rips that jewelry off,
Hmm.
she's angry at losing the thing that she loves the most. It's not her husband; it is her daughter. And so when she's in the pool and she's swimming, and you see this whole, it's not the water that is blue; it's the environment
It's the
around her.
world. Yeah.
When is she at peace? Is when she's at blue, and I think that there is a little
Or
bit
maybe not
of
even at peace, but when she is
just
centered.
set. Yeah, when she's right here, when she's just compact and she's,
Hmm.
I think, a little bit focused. You're right. That's when the world is blue again.
Hmm.
Just like her daughter's room, just
a
like the jewelry she
reflection
carries.
of
Yeah,
her daughter's
I think she is
existence onto,
there.
yeah.
It's metaphoric
That's
more
good. It's
than, you
so,
know.
yeah, she's not really conveying it physically. It's all bubbling
Yeah,
underneath. You know what, Kozlowski, you might have known what you were doing.
but I think, yeah, I mean, there is also, I think that the thing that is a little bit more inconsequential than the daughter stuff is like the interactions that she has and the sort of willingness to go back into it, like the Lucilla character, the erotic dancer. Like, I don't really think that by the end of that we really get much there other than just her willingness to get back into the fray
Well,
of
it
just
just ends up
human
being about
connection.
her
I mean,
impacting other people's lives.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's sort of interesting. I think the movie is expertly brilliant when it's just her, and the movie is very quiet at times. There's just sections of this
Most
movie,
of the
Jay, where
time.
she's just living alone and she's just trying to come
Looking
up.
at a rat family.
Exactly. She's just like, which I love that she gets like this cat, and then she's like frustrated at the pool. She's like, they had babies. It was too late. Like, there's a little bit of
That is that
a
her
little
getting the
humor.
cat and being like, I want to get rid of this family, but I don't want
Mm.
to do it directly because of how horrible that seems to me on like a
I
philosophical
want to get my
level.
hands dirty on that.
That's yeah, that's powerful, subtle stuff. That's the communicating more with less that I love so much about Kozlowski.
Yeah. No, I agree. And then, like, yeah, I mean, she has this really interesting relationship that you kind of think, I mean, her finding out about that interesting relationship, by the way, is with like this former collaborator with her husband. But then,
Olivier.
I mean, like the way he is communicating on this television show and showing these photos, I gotta call bullshit a little bit on this. I'm like, dude, you're showing the photos of his mistress on television?
But also but
Like, what a
the
dick. Like, yeah,
but also
like,
for him to be in love with Julie too, it feels
it feels as if he's trying to,
purposefully cruel.
yeah, and being manipulative of the situation.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to respond to this if she sees it. That then the music is going to get going. It's very selfish, but also it feels probably very much like a move that her husband would have done. And that's why I think she's also a little bit drawn to it as well. But it's also her music. And that's why she doesn't want to release this,
Yes.
because you find out she's like most women in history. They always say behind every
It's a little
great
bit of
man is a
Glenn
woman.
Close, the wife situation.
Oh, you think so? You think
Yeah.
so?
I'm the one person who likes that movie.
You like The Wife?
I like the
Well,
wife.
you're not the only person.
I thought it was pretty good.
Kevin Jacobson loves that movie as well.
Good company then.
But he also loves Glenn. He's a big Glenn fan.
Mm,
Are you a big Glenn fan?
I'm a big Glenn Ross fan.
Oh, okay. That's not the same thing. Do you want Glenn Close to be in Glenn Ross, like an all-female version of that?
That'd be pretty good.
That would be pretty good. Oh, actually, no one's ever thought of that. All right.
Paul Feig. Do the all-female
You think it would be Paul Feig?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would you cast?
Ghostbusters?
Who would you cast in the all-female Glenn
Man.
Ross?
For the Alec Baldwin part, I'm going Haley Bieber. I'm going his daughter.
Oh, for God's sakes!
I think that'd be pretty good.
Be serious. Be serious, fool. Like, no, that would be like, no, like, come on, Jay. That would be like.
I mean, I'm thinking of just like who are the best actresses in the world. Like, give me Carrie Coon.
Ooh.
Give me, I don't know. You want me? I mean, take Kate Blanchett in there. Let's
get
do
Julianne Moore.
She was in Borderlands.
Yeah.
I mean, she's killing it.
Did you watch Borderlands?
I'm going to.
Why? Why are you going to watch it?
That's a great question.
It is. Do you feel like that is a movie? And listeners know exactly what I'm about.
I still haven't seen a Nora. I'm planning on watching Borderlands, so.
Do you feel like that's a movie, Borderlands, that your father-in-law is going to buy and make you watch over the
You know
holidays?
what? I bet he has already seen Borderlands.
I think so.
That's a
Have
good
you
point.
seen him recently?
We were on a
Oh, you
Disney
were on
trip
the
for a
you're on the
week and a
Disney
half
cruise.
together.
What did you guys watch anything together on the Disney cruise? Not that we
No,
need
that's
it.
not really a space to sit
Okay.
around and watch something. I mean, we watched stuff on the giant screen by the pool. We
What
watched Coco.
Coco? What did he have a like a like an emotional response to Coco?
No, not really the most outwardly emotional guy in the world. He liked Coco.
Did he like it? Well, that's good.
Hmm.
Oh, this is also the guy that liked Rebel Moon. So,
I don't even know that he liked Rebel Moon, but we watched it
no,
together.
but you watched it. Have you guys partaked in part two?
The Scar Giver,
I don't know what the hell it's
I think
called.
that's what it's
Sure, let's
called.
call it that. Yeah,
Have not partaken in uh Rebel Moon 2.
the Scar Giver. Okay.
Folie à deux.
Do you think he would like Horizon?
I haven't even seen Horizon. I don't know.
Would you watch Horizon with him?
No, I guarantee you he wouldn't like that.
Why?
Actually, now that I think about it.
You don't think he would?
Slow,
He wouldn't like the cause?
long.
He wouldn't like the cause?
No, I don't feel like the Cause is one of his guys.
Does he not
These
watch
guys are more
Yellowstone?
like Statham.
But he feels like a guy that would watch like Yellowstone.
No, not a Yellowstoner.
Not a TV guy.
No, he'll watch what TV shows does he like? Reacher.
Blue Bloods,
Um, what's the
Criminal Minds.
Sylvester Stallone show?
Oh, Tulsa King.
Tulsa King. Oh,
See,
he
that's
likes that.
That's Taylor Sheridan though.
Is it? All right, well, maybe he
Yeah,
needs to get into the Sheridan verse.
I think I think he's I
He
think he's
loves The Boys. Is that what it's called?
oh, the boys on
That's
Amazon.
the superhero show.
Really? He likes that?
Yeah, he likes The
Like
Boys.
super graphic.
Yeah, he's into that.
What is your mother-in-law? Does it, like she think anything or like he's just like he's in his own world,
Uh,
let him go.
yeah, I mean that's basically it. She'll sit around and watch stuff, but mostly she'll also be on her phone or whatever. She likes um what's the Netflix horrible show?
You're
My wife
naming
watches it as well.
you're naming a lot of
It's kind of soap opera-y. I think it's a Canadian show. I
oh,
can't remember. I don't know.
okay.
It's called like, I don't know, Pretty Creek or something. Something about
Pretty
a body of
pretty
water. It's
pretty creek.
I believe there is a body of water in the title.
Now, you're gonna have to
Uh
vamp now because I got to look this up. Pretty
yeah,
creek.
you can go and look. What she also likes her and my wife will talk about Selling Sunset. I think one of the more deplorable pieces of content that exists.
You're not talking about Schitt's Creek.
Not talking about Schitt's Creek, which we are finishing up right now at our
Okay.
house.
All
But
right. Well, that is a Canadian show with the word
it
creek
is,
in
it
it.
is,
All
it's
right. Keep
God,
going.
um, uh, River.
Riverdale?
No, it's like it's not Mystic River, but it's something River. I think it's something River. But the
This is
audience, there are some people right
Virgin
now
River?
listening. Virgin River.
There
That's
you
it.
go.
Virgin River. Yes,
I had to
that's the
look
one that
this
they
thing
talk
up.
about.
I'm looking
There are
it up.
some people right now who are mad that we couldn't remember the name of the show, and there are more people who are mad because we are wasting a series on Krzysztof Kieślowski talking about Virgin River.
I have
So
no idea what the fuck this is.
it
It's
is
been on.
extraordinarily popular.
This has been on for 6 years.
Yeah, it's super popular.
Season 6 is about to premiere December 19, 2024. Follows Mel, who answers an ad to work as a midwife and a nurse practitioner in a remote Northern California town called Virgin River.
Yeah, I got
Thinking it
I
will
got
all be the
nothing for
hang
you,
on,
but
thinking it will all be the perfect place to start fresh and leave her painful memories behind. But soon discovers that the small town living is not quite as simple as she expected.
yeah, shocking.
This sounds terrible.
This is really it's so interesting to see this side of content consumption, which is a term that I hate even saying out loud, but
You just made me want to throw up in my mouth.
yeah, but it is interesting because I assume you don't watch Selling Sunset.
Um,
Selling Sunset is profoundly, astoundingly popular.
do you watch that? Or no, your wife
I've
watches.
walked in every now and then. I'll be there for like the houses. Some of those houses are crazy.
I don't like that. I like
No, I don't like it either, but it's just
no,
popular.
and no, it's extremely popular. I don't watch any of that stuff. Like I know that Sophia and Tyler and some of the staff, they watch like the Housewives, right? And some people watch like
or
and like
Survivor.
so Sophia, big Survivor fan.
Yeah.
The wife and I, we've tried to get into those things based off of her recommendations and other people's recommendations. And I'm just like, I can't get into reality shows.
No, but
like,
I'm not even talking about that kind of stuff.
I
I'm
like
talking about abject
crap.
fictional trash.
See, I don't do that.
I'm talking about The Kissing Booth.
Oh,
I'm talking about
yeah.
What's the most popular, like the most popular show on Netflix right now? It's about like, it's like, again, they're on some creek or something.
Isn't it like the Menendez brothers?
No, not that. It's something stupider than that.
Okay, it's just like something really bad.
Yeah, it's
Like the
what is it
popular.
called?
So what you're saying is, it's like the popular things are actually the content we think they're just churning out.
It's the stuff that
And
you'll never see reviewed on Vulture or whatever.
really, a lot of ways, Jay, that is the stuff that's paying the bills.
Outer Banks.
Outer
That's
Banks.
the show that
oh,
I'm
with
talking
Drew
about.
Starkey.
So popular.
With Drew Starkey, who's in Queer. Like, you know what I mean? But
no,
like,
I don't know what you're talking about. I
he's
believe you, but I don't
he's
know what you're talking
he's
about.
the actor with Daniel Craig in Queer, but he comes from that show. I've never watched Outer Banks, but like everyone's like, yeah, he was on Outer Banks and now he's doing this thing with Daniel Craig. I'm like,
popular.
Good for you. I've never watched that show. But yeah, no, like that's the thing, right? It's like an Outer Banks pays the bills so that we can get Maria or we can get Maestro or the Five Bloods or whatever. You know what
Amelia
I mean?
Perez.
No, yes. Have you watched it yet?
No, I'm gonna watch it soon.
It's on what are you
on
calling
the flicks?
Is that what you're calling it nowadays?
I'll go with the flicks for now. Yeah.
Okay. Jay's been trying to shop around an abbreviated name for Netflix because the world needed that.
Yeah.
Like
NF, the flicks,
the flicks, the net,
Nutflakes,
flicks. Babum. Have you done Babum?
Babum.
But yeah, no, I never heard of that show until you just said that, and it's been on for 6 years. But
like what's the Jeremy Renner show on? I think Paramount Plus.
Isn't that like the Kings of Mayor of Kingstown
or something? I think that show's super popular. Reacher is so popular.
By the way, that show, the Jeremy Renner one, Taylor Sheridan.
Taylor Sheridan runs
everywhere.
World.
No, he has like 9 shows. He has like one right now.
He did that one show with
Didn't he do this
Zoe
one new
Saldana?
One? Yeah, and isn't he doing this
Nicole
one
Kidman
with?
Is in it, I think.
Yeah, Morgan Freeman, Lioness, I believe it is.
Sure.
And then I think he's got one with Billy Bob Thornton and John Hamm coming out.
Yes, he does. You're right.
Yeah. Like Jay got really excited there when I said Billy Bob Thornton.
I mean, I won't watch it. But.
No, but like good for them that they have work. You know, but that's what people want to watch.
But Billy Bob Thornton, he's been stuck on, what was the other show that he had?
Oh, not
he played
Bosch.
Like an oil guy.
Goliath, wasn't it? Where he's like a lawyer. For like
5 seasons.
He's like a lawyer and it was on Amazon.
And that's just what he did.
Yeah, like Bosch was big, like right, and Reacher, the Lincoln Lawyer or like television show, like
was that big? I don't know.
Yeah, those stuff that the people watch. That Suits.
Way more people watch Outer Banks than watched Succession.
Probably, yeah.
Definitely.
Probably, yeah. Do you like? Would you say like Outer Banks?
Consider that
is like Outer Banks like the Stranger Thing replacement for right now?
It's so much trashier than that.
Yeah, I know, but like just like in terms of views, I guess, right?
But at least people like the.
Do you have? Well, here's a good question.
I don't know. I feel like a snob talking about.
I know
Outer Banks, but
you do, but it's okay. The question then I would say
it's trash.
Yes, but the question I would say to you is, my lovely co-host and friend, what is your trash then that you consume that others would probably then, poo-poo you? Is it like watching movies like this? Like, is this your?
No, I mean the trash I consume is football.
Is that okay?
That's the trash I consume.
That's
sports.
Just sports. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, and there's a bunch of people who probably say like Jay, like that's fucking
stupid.
It's stupid and awful for you to watch.
Of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you love it.
I like it.
I love it a lot. I can't stop watching it. Jay and I, before we got on the show, we were talking 20 minutes about college football and different scenarios and
Yeah.
the playoff and all this other stuff. No, I mean, like, I don't mind. I don't mind like an Iron Chef. Do you ever watch Iron Chef?
Never
Never got it.
religiously, but I liked,
I like that, or I
stuff.
like a Great
Top
British.
Chef. I think is fun.
Yeah, Top Chef's pretty good. Great British Bake Off's pretty good.
Like, I'll tell you one, Nailed It. I think a very fun show.
Which one's Nailed It?
Nailed It is when they get like amateur bakers who aren't good.
Oh, okay.
And it's hosted by Nicole Byer. It's extremely funny. I highly recommend
I think, okay. I think
it's
I've
on
seen
Netflix.
Yeah,
it's on the flicks.
It's on the flicks. The one like sort of house reality show that I do watch is I like to watch what is it? It's not the House Hunters, but it's like the ones where like they come in there and they fix up the house, but they also show them like is that House Hunters? And like and it's the one where like
Fixer Upper.
I guess it's Fixer Upper where they're like you could either buy one of these 3 new houses that we're showing you, or we fix up your house and you have to decide, do you want to keep your house that's all brand new with all your shit, or do you want to like sell the house?
Is that with the
the married couple?
Chip and Joanna?
No, I don't. Oh, God damn it. Now I'm going to look
married.
this up. Try
Joanna
to look
Gaines, Chip and Joanna Gaines. They live in Texas.
They do live in Texas.
Huge crush on Joanna Gaines.
Is she an important person?
She's cutie.
Love it or list it. That's what it is. Love it or list it.
Sorry to the Gaineses.
Sorry to the Gaineses.
You know those twins, like
the Property Brothers?
Yeah, the Property Brothers. You know who one of them is married to?
Who?
Zoe Deschanel.
Oh, like New Girl?
New Girl herself.
You know, that's like the show's like coming back around.
Yeah, apparently people are rediscovering New Girl.
Are we old now?
But like show. It's a fun show.
I mean, like that was like a
funny show.
It's a very funny show, but like that was a show that we.
Yeah, like, they're rediscovering.
Big for us.
It's like
for our generation.
I mean, you want to hear absolutely crazy. It would be kind of like us discovering Frasier. That's how old it is.
Yeah, but we still grew up. I grew up with Frasier. I watched Frasier on TV.
But Frasier didn't go into the 2000s, did it?
Yeah, it did.
Did it?
Frasier was
maybe
around
it's
a
more
long
like
time.
Maybe it's more like us discovering.
It'd be like us discovering the Jeffersons.
Discovering Seinfeld, except it's not not the Jeffersons. That was like
okay, like
20 years old when we would have been watching.
Okay,
TV.
So probably like what's a good like Saved by the Bell?
Cheers.
Cheers. That's probably a better one. Or Mary Tyler Moore. Yeah.
Mary Tyler Moore's still too old.
I don't know. I just watch all those old shows. Those are the better shows. That's when we all, I guess, collectively decided to have a brain.
But see, I don't know that they're better.
Oh no, they're great.
Would
you wouldn't take like Cheers or Mary Tyler Moore or All in the Family or over
what?
Over like
Community is better than those shows.
Jay.
New Girl is better than those shows.
Jay.
I think you need to go back and
I think you need to go back and watch those shows. All right, I'll watch Community.
I'm thinking you're forgetting something. Have you not watched Community?
I watched it on and off. I wasn't a big fan.
Community's great.
I wasn't a big fan of it.
It's great.
I was watching other stuff. There's too much shit to watch also, by the way.
There is. I barely watch TV now.
You know what I'm watching now?
What are you watching?
3 Colors Blue.
Yes. Oh my God. This might be our worst episode.
No, it's not. It was really good. And then we had like a little tangent. It's all right.
A little 15-minute tangent.
Yeah.
What are you watching right now? What are you watching?
Buddy, I am inundated with screeners.
No TV shows going on right now.
No, I got nothing.
You've already watched everything. What are you talking about?
No, I haven't watched everything. Like I watched, I'm catching up on things that I hadn't seen.
I find that hard to believe. You've already seen everything.
No, it's not true. I watched Thelma the other night.
That's a pretty decent.
It's decent. It's fun. I watched A Different Man.
Yeah, that's one's on my screener list.
Didn't like it.
Oh, yikes.
No. Yeah. I still gotta there's a couple other things. I still need to watch The Seed of the Sacred Fig. Haven't watched it yet.
Yep, I haven't seen it.
I gotta carve 2.5 hours out for that fig. I gotta see what's so sacred about it.
You gotta.
You
eat the
gotta
fig.
know. You know what I mean?
I love fig. You like fig
Like as a fruit,
as a food?
as a food. Yeah,
I
figs are
think it's
good.
delicious.
Yeah, they're really good. They're good for you.
Love a date.
Like going on one or eating them.
Both.
Okay. Do you like going on a date while eating dates?
Mm,
Mm,
absolutely.
yeah. Good for
But
your for your
not
wife.
when you get a bad date, a la Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I knew you were gonna. God damn it! I
Bad
knew,
dates.
I knew you were gonna somehow do it, and I just was like, I'm just gonna wait and see if he's gonna do the Raiders of
What's
the Lost Ark
worse?
thing.
What's worse? A bad date or a
Uh,
bad date?
Probably a bad date, like with a person. When you say,
Unless it's a poison date that kills you,
yeah, unless it's a poison. Well, I mean,
like that monkey.
yeah, but that monkey deserved to die in that movie.
He was a
He was a little stinker in that thing.
that was a Nazi monkey.
He was like the mices or the mice in this movie, the rats in this movie needed to
No,
die.
the mice and the rats in this movie did nothing wrong. The
Yeah.
monkey in Raiders of the Lost Ark did the Seek Heil. So
Oh,
that,
did he?
yeah, you don't remember that?
No.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, well, he was working for the Nazis.
He was a problematic monkey. Honestly, I think he deserved to be canceled by those
Okay.
dates.
You think so? Well, he never got any work after that movie. It's kind of wild that Steven Spielberg let him do that in the movie. I heard he was at odds with Spielberg the entire time. It's one of those
He didn't want to do it, but
one
nobody
of
would
those
give him
hidden
work
stories
after.
they never talk about
Yep.
In cinema.
Yep. Okay, Three Colors Blue.
Three
Oh my
Colors Blue.
God.
What do you? Anything else you want to talk about with this movie, Jay?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty. I mean,
Well, then talk about it.
yeah, I think the moment where she tries to overdose on pills, I think is a very powerful moment where she literally can't bring herself to do it. It- And I put myself in my shoes in that situation, and it's like trying to do anything like that, trying to drown yourself or overdose on pills. It's a very hard thing to overcome. It's like a very tall barrier when you think about you feel this desire to do it immediately, and then you do it and you try to do it and you think about the repercussions, and it's just an impossible thing in this circumstance. And I totally felt that. I thought that was very powerful, and Binoche obviously plays it incredibly. I think we should probably do a Binoche corner because she's
Yeah.
incredible.
She's one of the great actresses in the
Of the
modern
last
era.
30-40 years. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's amazing.
Did you well, this is like a big era for her because she has this sort of announces her to the world. And then a couple of years later she has The English Patient, which then if you didn't know her
Sure.
from this, then they gave her an Oscar in The English Patient.
She won for The English Patient, correct?
Correct. And then a couple of years later she's got like Chocolat. And then she's able to then for the next 20 years sort of dance back and forth between doing stuff here and doing stuff there and just being this international.
And also being in stuff over there that manages to kind of cross over here.
Yeah, like
which is rare.
Very rare. I mean, she's in one of your favorite films of last decade.
Clouds of Sils.
Clouds of Sils.
Clouds of Sils Maria. Yeah, one of my 10 favorite movies of the 2010s. I love that movie, and it's largely because of her. She's incredible in that.
Watching this movie, I could see why Assayas wanted to work with her for that movie, because there's just a lot of, I just think Assayas is like he picked up the torch from Kieślowski a lot in terms of visual storytelling. Like there were moments in this movie I was thinking actually a personal shopper more than I was thinking about again. I was just thinking about just the way that, the way he uses stillness in this. But yeah, Clouds of Sils Maria, just what an incredible film. And Let the Sunshine In.
I mean, I feel like she's almost as popular as she's ever been with American audiences, with The Taste of Things and High Life, which, wasn't a huge hit by any stretch, but
no, but like it's part of the A24 wagon, so people
start in English.
Yeah, it's in English, and it's with Robert Pattinson, and she's in a sex box, and it's wild, and she's devilishly evil in that movie, and it's wonderful. It's one of my favorite Claire
Oh, I
Denis.
forgot about Nonfiction. That was an interesting movie. Another
essayist. He is one of, you know what? He's one of my guys.
You're going all the way, one of your guys on that one?
Well, I mean, like we have a lot of guys, right? You know what I mean?
He had a movie this year.
Why haven't I seen that?
Maybe it hasn't been released.
I don't think
maybe
it
just did festivals.
I think it just did just at the festivals in Berlin. Where the hell is it? I want to watch it. You know who Asayas is a lot like, not in terms of like style, but in terms of like anticipation for me, is Christian Petzel. It's like a guy like
he's quite up there with Petzel.
No, but like, well, like they got a new movie.
I mean, he made one of my 10 favorite movies of the 20.
They got like a new movie coming, but like no, they're like they got a new movie coming out, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, I'll get to it.
I never saw Wasp Network.
I never saw that either. But then I watched. So, yeah,
I guess it back.
So. I guess so. I just never got around to it. But when I do watch the movies, I'm like, oh, I really like this. And I'm like, damn, why doesn't he make more movies? So like, and Petzel's the same way. Like the last movie I watched last year before my list was done was A Fire.
A great film.
And I watched it. I was like,
very good movie.
I was like, holy shit, this is one of the best movies of the year. Why aren't we talking about this thing?
No, Petzold is just making banger after banger after banger.
Dude's on another level, man. Like that's a guy we should do.
Definitely don't remember Binoche in Ghost in the Shell.
She's in Ghost in the Shell, the remake with
the Scarlett Johansson, Ghost in the Shell.
She's in that.
She sure is.
Good for her. Good for her.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get that paycheck.
I don't remember her in Godzilla.
Oh, I remember her in Godzilla. She's the mother.
I don't think that movie's very good.
The Gareth Edwards one.
Yeah, she's like fourth build. I do not remember her in that movie.
She's great.
Nuclear regulations consultant.
She's great in Certified Copy. And have you ever seen that?
Oh, she's the the widow of Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, she like dies early on.
Okay.
Code Unknown, another great one.
Cool.
Yeah, she's worked with Michael Haneke and Asayas and Bhaskar Sami, Cronenberg a couple of times. Yeah, she's great. She's there's never a time when she's in a movie where I'm like, man, Juliette Binoche is not good in here. They gotta get her out of here. She's great in almost everything she does. She's a good actress.
She is extraordinarily reliable.
And she's wonderful in this.
Very good.
She's extraordinary in this movie.
It's crazy that she's only been nominated for 2 Oscars.
Is English Patient and Chocolat?
Indeed.
Have you seen Chocolat?
No.
You haven't seen Chocolat?
I don't know why that is particularly surprising to you, but
I just feel like that's a movie that
Chocolat.
I just feel like that's a movie that your wife would want to put on.
Is that a movie about chocolate being made illegal?
Yes.
Is that what that movie's about?
Yes. Alfred. So it's like it's the small, very religious town, and Alfred Molina is like in charge of it. And
you've got me so far.
And she's like this sort of like very free spirited woman. And chocolate is like it's an indulgence. It's a sin. And so she brings her recipes and her free spirited way into this very tight.
Is it like a metaphor for sex?
I think so. And then her landlady is played by Judi Dench, and it's and Carrie Ann Moss is in it, and then your guy's in it. Johnny D is in the movie, and he plays like the gypsy leader that kind of falls in love with her in the movie. And
Johnny D.
It's honestly one of Depp's peak. Like when you understand
so
at
you
the
think
time,
it's good.
I think it is a fine Sunday afternoon brunch kind of movie you watch with the wife. I do not think it is an Oscar movie, but I do not think it is like the worst movie. Like some people, because it was nominated for Oscars, Jay, and Best Picture that year, people think it's like the worst movie. Yeah, it's like the worst movie ever. It's like when you guys need to go watch some really bad movies, that one, I understand why it got nominated because,
Made
like,
good money.
it made good money and the
Mm.
producers behind it and everything. Like, I get it. But then, yeah, it's also like it's one of those movies that's very rewatchable when it doesn't, like, nobody can say anything really wrong about it other than it's just a very innocent little movie about people making chocolate. It was
Chocolate.
Wonka before its time. That's what it
There's
was.
chocolate and there's
Just
chocolate
chocolate. Put it
in
in
your
your
pocket.
pocket.
They're doing Wonka too, correct?
They are doing Wonka too.
What a
Dude, we're living in Timmy's world. We're just lucky to be living in it.
oh my God, we really are.
He's gonna probably go on and win an Oscar this year.
Bobby D.
Yeah, I think so. I'm not thrilled about it.
I don't think
Sophia
so.
thinks I'm thrilled about it. I'm not thrilled about it.
I don't think he's gonna win.
Who do you think's gonna win? Ray Fiennes?
I could see that.
You think it's gonna be Brody
Joaquin again
from Joker?
for Joker.
Probably a do. People are gonna feel bad for him.
Have you
Do you
seen
think?
that?
No. That's a screener I have. I can watch that.
I have a screener for that as well.
Jay, do you think that Hollywood's gonna be a little like done for a while with Joaquin?
Because of the Todd Haynes thing,
Yeah.
it's very possible.
Yeah. Do you think that Binoche would do a good Joker?
Probably.
Yeah.
Honestly,
You think
probably be
so?
pretty good.
She'd be pretty good.
Les
She's
Joker.
Les Joker. Her and Lady Gaga.
Oh, now we're talking.
Now we're talking. Okay, Jay. Any final things you want to say or talk about Three Colors Blue?
I think if there's one final thing I would like to say is I apologize
Oh, don't do
for
this.
this episode.
Oh, it's a good app.
We talked about a lot of stuff. Fun app. I really do think this is a pretty marvelous film. Trying to think of what else I thought was really good. I mean, her relationship with Olivier is, again, like so many other things in this film, extraordinarily complex. Again, that her in her most heightened grief, having sex with her husband's artistic creative partner is incredibly powerful, and the way that their relationship kind of grows and shrinks and returns and where it ends up being is largely a professional, respectful relationship. I think it shows a lot of maturity in its storytelling, which I think a lot of stories like this, to your point, Ryan, it would be, this grand sweeping romance or this incredibly dramatic downfall of their relationship. But here it's so much more complicated than that, which I think is where this movie really thrives, is in its human complications. It's not willing to devolve into anything easy, whether it's a stripper seeing her dad in the front row, very kind of Paris, Texas-y a little bit, or so many other just. It reminded me a little bit of My Beloved, Shortcuts, in a certain way, where you have these interactions with various people in these sort of stories that are elevator pitch, like, hey, what if a sex worker encountered their father at work? Or even that same character, what if a sex worker lived in an apartment complex where everybody wanted to kick her out except one person, and they required every vote to kick that person out? Or what if you saw a car crash that resulted in two fatalities and you knew where the one survivor was? That's a movie that you could make all by itself, but they condense it down into two or three interactions, and it makes it incredibly impactful. And there are a handful of interactions like that I think are so powerful. And then for it to end on this simple medium shot of this woman crying after having this crazily shot sex scene where they're pressed against this like plastic pane, just the whiplash from this formally audacious scene to then this simple medium shot that speaks more powerfully than this extremely complicated set piece. it's it's a pretty marvelous piece of filmmaking and a pretty marvelously mature piece of storytelling. It's great. Even though I do have a couple quibbles,
Mm-hmm.
it's in the broad strokes of it are amazing, and then all of those little details are fantastic. I do wish, if there's one thing, I wish there was a little more attention paid to the loss of a child. As a father, that's kind of something that I'm like, I mean, that would be absolutely consuming me more than anything else. But I do like your theories about how the suppression applies more to the daughter than to the husband. I think that's totally valid. So, great film, love it. Can't wait for the next two in the trilogy.
I was going to actually mention in my final thoughts, Jay, you're right about these sort of interconnections with other individuals. And while you were talking there, I was kind of thinking about how we've talked about over the years when we've done other series or on the show or in past shows, just about like, those movies, it's like the traffic problem. It's the crash problem of having everybody connected through a theme, right?
Yeah, and then it
And
culminates in this like super cheap
cheap, stupid message that was
message.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, just like makes everybody feel like they're,
But then you've got your Magnolias and your
yeah,
shortcuts and
exactly. And so
your
like
Pulp
when,
Fictions.
exactly, but like this is done like more of a very much with that frame of reference in mind, but very minimal in how it's going to do the approach. Like, I mean, the guy that
And
has,
with a consistent central figure as
yes,
well.
exactly. So like
Common thread.
the guy meeting her about the cross, right? And and
Amazing
having
scene.
the jewelry, like amazing. And also just the way in which that scene is shot from the cross to the perspective of where his hand and his face is at to her seeing it. I know you haven't seen this movie yet, Jay, this year, but it was very reminiscent of what like Ramel Ross is kind of capturing in terms of the visual aesthetics in Nickel Boys, obviously to a different extent, but like using that in a way, that camera technique was so interesting in how he's framing
I can't wait for
conversations.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that dude, I think you're just gonna flip over that movie. That movie is entirely about the form, and I think you're gonna love it. But then there's just like, yeah, these complex, you know, conversations that she's having with these random strangers. And it's one act of kindness that then blossoms into a relationship. And from that relationship, then opens back up a wound with Oliver and then the work and tapping into legacy and tapping into
Mm-hmm.
is this music is this music, Jay, for her to finish, for her to find closure, for her to find a sense of peace? Is handing off the house a sense of closure? Or is it just the necessary thing to do to wash her of having to think about this, for her to move on, for her then to have to deal with the real tragedy, right? Like, are these the necessary things to do before the actual
Mm-hmm.
realization of pure tragedy? Because I do think the color of blue being surrounded throughout the whole film is a hint at the pain that is about to come with the even harsher reality that she doesn't have her daughter. And that's going to actually probably be the one that lingers with her longer, right? Because as I don't have a child, you do, Jay, but I know that
Mm-hmm.
losing my wife would be absolutely terrible. But losing a child is even it's just as bad, if not even
No, the
worse,
most
as you said.
unfathomable thing in the world to me
Yeah,
is outliving my child.
exactly. And so I think that she hasn't, again, I'm not trying to like put up this argument or anything for it, but I think that she has so many things yet to still kind of check off. And then by the final bit of the movie, she gets to. And that final shot of her just sitting there crying, I don't know if that final scene where she's crying is all about the different encounters that she's had and how she's affected all those people, right, Jay? Or if this is about
Mm-hmm.
her realizing that that part is over and the smile is a hint at potentially moving forward. But then I do think some of those tears at the end is about her daughter. And I do think that like she's going to have to
Well,
have
it's
that and
about her
linger with
finally
him
grappling
with the whole
with what's
thing.
been going on. Yeah,
Yeah.
because she's
She's
kind of
been
had this
pushing
scorched
away.
earth
Yeah.
mentality where if she just completely shuts down, then
But
she won't have to really grapple with it. But now she's kind of found something resembling a purpose, and that purpose is connected to her past, and now she has to confront the past, but also there's a piece of her that sees a future for the first time, and that's where you have that little smirk coming through, which apparently Juliette Binoche claims that she kind of snuck in. I'm whatever, whether it was a happy accident or something that she decided to do.
it's a good move.
It's brilliant. Yeah, it's a
Well, it's
great way to
like
end the film.
it's again kind of like at the end of Double Life, right? Where it's just like the kind of like the dad looking up, right? It's like the
Hmm.
little subtle thing that then adds another layer to an otherwise, pretty, kind of just plain ending, right? But then it adds
Hmm.
another layer to it as well. And that's sort of the playfulness that he as a director provided them and leeway as with his actors. But then that's also just like, hey, if you see an actor that's as great as she is, being able to add something that makes your film even more special than when it was on the page, then keep that shit in. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think I think it's a wonderful film, and
Happy accident or happy trick, whatever it was.
for sure. And I just think that it's a real quick movie, and I can't wait to talk about the next two films in this series with you, buddy. It's a good start to
The
this
Star
trilogy.
Spangled Trilogy.
Exactly. We're gonna have hot dogs and
Hmm.
fireworks by the end of this series. Jay,
Yeesh.
how you doing?
I'm doing great. What a good film.
A good film.
So happy we're digging into this filmmaker.
Me too. Before we get out of here, we're going to test your award season knowledge based on the films we just reviewed, which was Three Colors Blue, in a segment we like to call It's an Honor to Get Nominated. Now, Jay Ledbetter, you're getting in some tricky territory because you know these movies are popular.
Yeah.
So you got to ask yourself, buddy, was this movie nominated for any Oscars?
Well, I just looked up Juliette Binoche Oscar history, which was probably a mistake, but
Yeah, I don't know why you did that, but
I
I
went
get
down
I
the
get why.
Wikipedia rabbit hole there and not thinking. Obviously she didn't get nominated.
Mhm.
I think for reasons I cannot recall, I'm pretty sure I know that one of these got Oscar play, and only one of these got Oscar play, including for foreign language feature. I don't think this was nominated for any Oscars.
You're correct.
Okay.
It wasn't nominated for any Oscars, but this was a big movie. Okay.
Okay.
Because not only did she won the César Award, which is the French Oscar,
Hmm.
she won the Volpe Cup at Venice in this movie
Okay.
premiere, which is the Volpe Cup, as you know, hopefully you know, is the Best Actress prize at Venice.
Hmm.
But she was nominated at Golden Globe that year.
Okay.
So she had a place in this race. She just did not get to the Oscars. And the
Hmm.
Oscars, of course, that was the year of Schindler's List. The ceremony was in 94. These are the movies in 93. And the Best Actress race, that was when Holly Hunter won for The Piano.
Wow. I mean,
Against,
great
yeah,
work.
yes, yes. Holly Hunter in The Piano. Angela Bassett, What's Love Got to Do with it? What's Love Got to Do with It? Stalker Channing, 6 Degrees of Separation. Emma Thompson for The Remains of the Day. And Deborah Winger for Shadowlands. That was
Hmm.
the lineup. Would you have put Juliet in?
I've only seen a couple of those. I would put her in. Yeah. I think she's phenomenal in this movie.
Yeah. Would you give it to her over Holly Hunter in The
No,
Piano?
no.
No.
Holly Hunter is one of my, it's one of my guys.
She's one of your guys.
I love Holly Hunter.
She's a is important person.
I just think she's a talent.
Is she
Just
Is she your favorite?
Unbelievably talented.
I know when you were on Kevin Jacobson's show, did you say that Her in the Piano was your favorite Best Actress winner?
I said that was my favorite Best Actress win, and I also said that her not winning for broadcast news is my most disappointing
Oh, you went
loss.
double Holly Hunter.
I went double Holly.
See, I don't.
We call that a Holly Jolly Christmas.
Holly Jolly. Okay. I actually think it should have stayed with Cher. I think Cher's wonderful in Moonstruck.
Holly Hunter in broadcast news on the right day, I will say that is my favorite performance put to film.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I think she's
by anyone.
unbelievable in that movie. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if I would. Well, I don't remember what I gave it to. Probably was. I would nominate Juliette here, and I'd probably give her the win. It's that
Give it
kind
the
of
win.
Yeah. Either her or Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett.
Haven't seen that movie.
Angela Bassett, What's Love Got to Do with It? One of those like biopic performances that like transcends the genre. It's such a
That movie is not any good, is it? Like I hear that movie is pretty mediocre.
like it's a I mean it's a biopic, right?
Yeah.
But her performance is so good. Her and Fishburne are so good in that movie.
Larry Fish?
Larry Fish is Ike Turner in that movie. It's yeah. And then they do Boys in the Hood, or they had done Boys in the Hood together. They have incredible chemistry in that movie that it like transcends any of the sort of trappiness that film is involved with. It is one of those like
it's like Rami Malek level.
Yeah, it's very Timothy Chalamet.
Malekian. It's Malekian, but this is Malekian.
Malekian. Yeah, exactly. There you go, buddy. Yeah, I know that some people though don't like Holly Hunter. So,
well,
but I like Holly
stupid,
Hunter.
Dumb idiots.
Well, I think that's like Sophia and Eric and some people. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what.
I didn't realize we worked with stupid, dumb idiots.
Do you think we actually had a fun time thinking about if Holly Hunter would have been good as Clarice Starling in The Silence of the Lambs?
I mean, very similar energies.
Dr. Lecter. You know what I mean? Like she would have had a good Dr. Lecter. That's my favorite.
Mrs. Incredible herself.
Yeah, Mrs. Incredible herself. I personally think that Jodie Foster is my favorite Best Actress winner of all time. And
very good.
Probably
I just think the piano
probably my favorite, probably one of my favorite like top two performances of all time is Jodie Foster in that movie. And yeah, so that's where I would put my stake to answer the question for everybody out there that's wondering, because Jace said his favorite. So
her performance in the piano is not my favorite performance
from
ever
her
necessarily, but I think
but the win,
it is a cool win. Yes, exactly. It's my favorite win because it's so against the grain.
Isn't that crazy though that our wins are back to back? Is it back to back here? Right? Because Silence of the Lambs. No, Silence of the Lambs. 91.
2 years.
Yeah, just a year. Yeah, Emma Thompson's in between us. So yeah. Would you nominate this in any other categories? This is the year of.
I'm assuming this is probably in my top 5 movies.
This is Schindler's List.
I like it more than that movie.
Best Picture was Schindler's List, The Fugitive.
Love The Fugitive.
In the Name of the Father, The Piano, and The Remains of the Day.
It's hard to say.
Speaking of shortcuts, this was the year of shortcuts.
Shortcuts, more like.
How are you going to do this?
Long legacy for me. Although I would say in the zeitgeist, not necessarily the longest legacy in the world, but I like it. Yeah, I'd give it a Best Picture nom, Best Actress, Director, Screenplay, Cinematography for sure. Kozlowski movie cinematography is kind of a layup, it seems.
Yeah, this is the year of age. This is a year of Age of Innocence. Top four Scorsese. Top 4 Scorsese for me. I love.
Disagree with that, but I like it.
Well, I said for me, not for you, Jay.
In my opinion, he's only good when he makes gangster movies.
Well, doesn't he make gangster movies with every movie, buddy?
That's true.
Yeah, The Fugitive.
Yeah, Age of Innocence is the one about Al Capone.
It's about Hoffa.
Mm.
That one's actually, it was a prequel to The Irishman. It was about like, Um, Jay, you're on the stance that do you think that Jurassic is better than Schindler's List?
No, no, I think
Schindler's List.
Jurassic is not one
You
of my
think Jurassic's
movies.
overrated, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see your Philadelphia.
Love Philadelphia.
Love Philadelphia. Demi.
I'm gonna look at this in 93. Let me
And
look
then
here.
93, buddy.
What are my faves in 93?
93 is a really good year. Um, I gotta just talk about the Fugitive real quick. One of the most rewatchable movies
Mm-hmm.
ever. Ever? Maybe?
It's a great film.
I could watch that movie all the time. I think I did. Like that was like a staple on AMC.
Yeah, The
Was
Fugitive absolutely rocks.
rocks the house. What else,
I
buddy?
don't care.
Wait, did he have a southern accent in that movie?
He kind of is doing something.
He's just doing Tommy Lee Jones.
Well, Tommy Lee Jones kind of has a southern accent.
Does he really? Well,
Yes.
like I think later Tommy Lee Jones does. I don't
No, I
think
think
like her.
always.
You think
Maybe I'm
all-
doing it. Maybe I'm thinking of a later Tommy Lee Jones voice doing that line.
I think
I
it
don't
more.
know.
That was more.
He
like
always
no,
has a southern accent.
well, he's
Other
always
movies I
playing
love this
cowboys.
year. I mean, True Romance, one that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
A Perfect World, one of the most underrated Clints.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I need to watch it.
Rules, The Cause.
The
I mean, there's some
Cause.
other fun ones. King of the Hill, I think, is a really underrated Soderbergh. Matinee, the Joe Dante movie, I think is a lot of fun. This is the year of Dazed and Confused, so that's
Mm-hmm.
your guy. Not one of
I,
my guys, but
I like Linklater.
I know you love Linklater,
I,
and I'm like, Linklater,
I
yeah.
don't know if I would call him one of my guys,
But
but
you definitely like it more than I do.
I think yeah, that's for sure. But I think like, would you weren't hot on Hitman this year?
I liked Hitman.
You think it's
I'm not
overrated?
waxing rhapsodic about Hitman, but
Well, I mean,
I
like
liked
you
it.
don't have to, but it's like a really fun time.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. That's what I thought about it.
Yeah, Groundhog Day. Did you say that?
I did not. Yeah,
You know,
Groundhog Day, good flick.
Menace to Society, really good. Bronx Tale,
Yeah, pretty good
Sleepless in
year.
Seattle. Also great movie. Jay, did you find? I don't. You never finally watch this movie, Tombstone.
No, I haven't seen
This is
Tombstone.
a great debate that I get to finally always tell Jay. Just please watch Tombstone. Jay, you would love this movie so much.
Because it's
so
kind of
fun.
like trash, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's kind
not
of it's
super serious. It's
no,
just
it's like fun and like I
yeah.
think you like I think Sophia finally watched it and I got her to watch it because I was like, please watch this movie, and she watched it with her dad. It's such a dad movie,
Mm-hmm.
and
I am a dad.
Val Kilmer is so good in this movie, Jay. Like we watched that Val documentary like years ago.
What's better,
And
Tombstone the movie or Tombstone the pizza?
ooh, well, you could have a Tombstone pizza while you watch Tombstone.
I think that's almost a necessity.
That is like a double. Do you like with your pizza? Do you ever have like a little bit of hot sauce with it?
Not hot sauce, but I like
Like
hot stuff on a pizza.
like peppers or like a jalapenos?
Yeah, you put some panos on there, we're cooking with gas. I
What
had
did you
a
wait? What did you call them?
panos.
God damn it, Peños.
Yeah,
Pe-
I say these things without even thinking about them, and then they just absolutely blow your mind.
Continue. What else did you put on?
I had a pizza last weekend. It had like a
Uh,
habanero sauce on it. It was mighty
Peños.
spicy, and I was like, I'm digging this. I'm becoming a bit of a fiend for some heat lately.
Oh yeah, you're becoming well, you're already a fiend for mojitos.
A fiend for mojitos, a fiend for some spice.
Caliente indeed, my friend.
Love some spice.
Oh shit, are you turning like into like a Dune person then at that point?
Yes, I need the spice.
You need what the hell was that?
That's
That's
my
your
favorite
voice
character in Dune. Baron Harkonnen.
No, it sounds more like Schwarzenegger from The Simpsons than anything anything else. Okay. I don't. I know. I was going to ask you the controversial question that everybody asks about pizza.
Hmm. Pineapple, absolutely yes. Hawaiian is awesome.
God damn it! All right, I can't do it.
Hawaiian pizza is one of my favorite kinds of
Can't do
pizza.
it. It's the consistency. I
Mm,
can't. The mushy. I don't know.
I think it's so good.
And I think it makes it, and it's too sweet. It's too sweet. I can't do it. I
I
get
love
it
it.
though. I get why. Like the weirdly the sweetness of a marinara sauce with the pineapple kind of makes sense, but I don't know. I think I got a certain point we all
Look,
got
I've
to
got
like
my texture things. I'm a texture guy, but for
listen.
some
I
reason
think
that doesn't get to me.
listen. I think like at a certain point we all like we have to pay taxes in America and grow up and stop putting pineapple on pizza. Like
I
that's just
think we need to
that's
keep doing it.
I think that's just my snobbish way of thinking. Like I think you can do that when you're a kid or you go to like
Mm-mm.
CC's Pizza, but not
Always,
like
forever.
So like is that? But what's like your go-to pizza? Might as well ask.
I mean, that is one of my
Is
go-to
that your
pizzas,
go-to?
actually. I don't know if
Does
that's my number one
does the wife
go-to.
like it?
Yeah, she likes it a lot.
Wow.
That's a
Okay.
very agreeable pizza for us. I mean, love a supreme. Hold the olives, of course. Olives are
I do.
trash.
Well, that's not true. If I get pizza, I don't mind like a Supreme or a Works. But hold the green peppers. I can't do the green peppers
No, green
sometimes.
peppers are great. Olives are
Red
absolute
peppers are
trash.
much better, I think, than green peppers. And so if
I
you
love a
have red
pep
pepper,
of any variety.
I don't know. The green ones, I don't want them on there. But the olives, that'll be fine. Black olives are okay.
So you know what I do like? Actually, get a Hawaiian, throw some green peppers on there.
Oh, so you just want to make the worst pizza
I'm trying to
imaginable
make
for
it,
me?
yeah, I don't want you to
You're
have it. I'm
trying to
trying to protect it. I'm trying to hoard it all for myself.
see, but then I'll just do like a pepperoni sausage mushroom. I'll just do that.
I mean, that's a good za.
That's just like the most solid za you could have right there, buddy.
That's old school right there.
That's old school. Yeah. Okay. That's gonna do it for this episode. And
Hmm.
talking about that, I assume that we were just gonna put that movie in every category possible at the Oscars this year. Uh
Basically, definitely editing. Oh, we didn't even talk about those weird moments where they fade to black and then fade out of black and it's still the same shot.
yeah, like
That's wild.
what do you think about that?
It's awesome
Is that
because it's
like
something you don't see. And
but like what
it's
do you
like
think it
her.
means?
Oh, what does it mean? I mean, it speaks to, in my opinion, how we're fully it maybe speaks to how we are moving from an objective reality to kind of a more subjective reality, potentially.
Hmm.
Um, and also just from a formal perspective, it's powerful.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. I kind of felt like it's also too a little bit of just of like her train of thought, her consciousness coming in
Yes,
and out
that
of
for sure.
reality,
Yeah. Yeah.
before the grief sort of takes over and
Hmm.
she like blacks out and
Or
everything.
becoming sort of overcome with emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where she needs to reset. And so
Hmm.
therefore the movie resets before
Turn
anything.
it off, turn it back on again.
Yeah. And then the music
That's
and
how
then
you fix it. Anything.
and then with those blackout scenes, then the music plays with
Hmm.
it as well too, which is honestly like perfect. And like music is just way to settle her back into everything as well. So that's
Hmm.
why I think it's wonderful use of editing. And then also too, like there's certain scenes again where like maybe it's a signature of his or something, but like very dark, very black moments as well there in the cafe or in her apartment as well too. Just very
Yeah.
dark cinematography, dark looking movie. Jay,
Yes.
can you tell everybody where they can find you and all your work on the internet and give everybody out there your recommend give everybody out there your recommendation of the week, buddy. I can't talk today.
Sure. Yeah. Find me on Letterbox, J Ledbetter, Twitter at Mr. J Ledbetter. Any work I'm doing, find it over on AwardsWatch. Recommendation of the week. Watched a little film from a nonagenarian filmmaker. I believe he's 94, I think. Clint Eastwood's Juror Number Two absolutely rips. It is so good. Um, it is another movie similar, honestly, to Three Colors Blue that just has 15 moral conundrums wrapped up in it. That it does feel like such a throwback movie, which again makes sense since it was directed by a filmmaker in his 90s. But it is a really claustrophobic, classic courtroom drama blended in with this thriller point of view, this thriller mentality that I think many courtroom dramas don't really possess. I think it's a really easy watch, really easy movie to recommend. Great performances. Nicholas Hoult, I think, is really good in it, and some of the other jurors in it are really good. A really great, surprisingly great ensemble, and I think a really compelling, ambiguous ending as well. And it's a movie that can be viewed as extraordinarily cynical, but maybe also a little bit hopeful. I think there's a lot going on in it, and it's my favorite Clint in a while. So
Really?
check out Juror Number Two. Yeah.
I think that it's a hmm, it's a complicated movie for me. I remember kind of walking out of it. And I thought it was good, like for what it was. I did not like the ending that you seem to like. But I just thought it was kind of like the most polished Clint we've had in a while. And then I just kind of tried thinking about the movie and kind of pulling it apart a little bit. And
I think there's so much to dig into.
I don't know, it kind of got a little bit lesser for me. And kind of like the point was a little
So
bit
you say,
repetitive.
I say it's Juror Number Two. You say it's Tier Number Two.
I would say it's like tier number 2.5 to 3, probably. Um, Clint would be a really interesting series to do. I don't know how the hell we would do that, but that would be
There'd be a lot of flicks.
that would be a lot of flicks and a lot of
We'd have
bad
to
movies in
be
between.
pretty selective.
Yeah, we would definitely have to be very selective. Um, but I
He's
mean,
made
like,
so many good movies,
yes, and
and
that's the
then
thing.
plenty of bad movies.
There's so much. It's like a lot like Zemeckis. There's a lot of really bad shit in there, and then there's a lot of like
No,
really
but
good.
Zemeckis has gone
Yeah,
over 20 years without making a good movie.
that's fair. I mean, Clint at least has like
He goes on heaters.
he goes on some heaters every now and then. I think The Mule is a ridiculous movie, and I kind of
Mule's
respect it.
great.
Kind of respect it more and more. And Richard Jewell was actually not as bad as
Richard Jewell is good.
yeah. And this is not great, but like this is not bad, and it deserved to be in theaters, and people deserve to see it. I don't understand the release strategy of
Zaslav
that.
strikes again.
Yeah, what a fucking asshole. But anyway, you
When's he
can
coming on the pod?
never. I'm never going to allow him on this show. Probably
What if
he'll probably wanna
his
solo it.
people reached out to us and said Zaslav wants to be on the pod?
Pass?
I'm bringing him on.
No.
And I'm bringing him on for I want to get an illegal copy of the Wile E. Coyote
versus
movie.
Acme. Yeah.
Yeah.
Acme. Yeah.
And talk to him about that.
Okay. All right. Well, you
Blindside him with that.
you have fun with that episode. You can find me on Blue Sky,
Or Joker Folie à Deux.
Instagram.
That'd be fun to talk to Zaslav.
Letterbox, and for the time being, Twitter at Ryan McQuade 77. You can find on my work at awardswatch.com. If you like podcasts, we have the main show, which if you're listening to it at the time of recording, the main show next week is actually going to be a continuation of the shenanigans that go on this show.
The dynamic duo is coming back again.
We're going to be reviewing Gladiator 2 and talking about our top 5 Denzel Washington performances. Me and Jay are taking over the main show.
We're becoming Denzel experts.
We are Denzel experts. A Latino and white critic are becoming the Denzel Washington experts. And then, those release every Monday because this releases mostly every Thursday. iTunes and Spotify 5-star reviews. While you're over on the website, please sign up for the newsletter. It's a great place to get all of our news, reviews, interviews, and all the stuff going on during festival season and all the stuff going on during award season, all in one place, sent to you. My movie recommendation is you're going to have to wait for it to see it. But I just saw a movie last night. It's got the goods, Jay.
Okay.
It's a movie that's coming out on Christmas Day. It's called Baby Girl.
Baby Girl. I have a potential screening for that tomorrow, but I'm not going.
Because
I'm going on my anniversary date.
Well, you don't want to take the wife to that?
Honestly, I'd be down for that.
It'd be an interesting conversation afterwards. Well, happy early anniversary to you guys.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome, buddy. It's a great movie. I don't know how to say this director's name. All I know is that she directed Bodies, 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 which was a which was a stinky movie, and I did not like it. But she's back here. It's Nicole Kidman. It's about a woman who has these sexual urges that she is not able to express and sort of starts having this affair with a much younger man played by Harris Dickinson, and it goes into some pretty kinky places. Also stars it also speaking of it also stars Puss in Boots himself, Antonio Banderas, in the film as well. Yeah, Puss in Boots. And
Harris Dickinson?
Yeah, Harris Dickinson. And it's a really good movie, Jay. Very slow burn. Weirdly, it's just like when it's a Christmas movie, Nicole Kidman decides to get really horny in it. Between this and That's Why Shut, I don't think that it's like a continuation of that sort of style and
Christmas imagery in it.
Oh yeah, buddy. And but I think that it's some of Kidman's best work probably in like 20 years.
Yeah, like Aquaman and this.
Well, I would say like Birth and Rabbit Hole, and then like this.
Aquaman 2.
The Ricardos. You know what I mean? Oh, how could you forget the Ricardos? You met them.
No, we didn't meet them. We were them.
We were them. We became the Ricardos. But anyway, I think she's extraordinary. It's one of the best performances of the year. Sneaky film that could end up in the top 20 easily for me by the end of the year. Yeah, I really loved it. Musical, like the needle drops, the music needle drops in this movie, absolutely incredible needle drops. Like
Baby Girl, more like Maybe Girl might be in my top 20.
You've had better, but that's still pretty good.
I think that was absolutely elite.
We will be back next week. We will be continuing our dive into the Three Colors trilogy with Three Colors White. So thank you all so much for coming, and we will see you all next time.